Hello, everybody. I'm Zenith, and welcome back to Diving Into DuckTales, where Kat Macberrie, Doug Macberrie, and myself discuss each individual episode of the latest DuckTales series. And today we are going to talk about an episode that it has its merits, but it's certainly not the best of the season. But before we get into that, how's it going, Kat?
Saludos, amigos. Tell me, Zen, have you been to Bahia?
I don't know what that means, but it better taste like cheese.
Uncultured swine. Anyway, don't go to Bahia. There's carnivorous plants there. They'll eat you.
And Mr. Doug, how's it going?
Hola, amigo. ¿Cómo está?
Well, you know more Spanish than I do.
El hueco está en mis pantalones.
What do you have in your pants?
My pet pig, Steve.
Stop showing me up. I can't speak Spanish, just so y'all know. I suck at it.
I took a year of Spanish in high school, and I remember certain things like poopy tray means desk, and cabeza means head. So I can tell you there's a desk in your head or something like that. I can tell you nonsense phrases. That's about it. Well, and puedo usar el baño. I know how to use the bathroom. That's the.
I would
use
hope
that
you know
a
how
lot.
to use the bathroom.
But I use these phrases a lot because I didn't want to be in that class. Wait a second. Boating school? I thought this was Spanish class. But anyway, today we're talking about the town where everyone was nice.
Gotta love that title.
It is clearly a front for something evil because no one is ever nice. That is a lie, and you know it, and I know it. But all right, this season has gotten off to kind of a rocky start. We've had a couple good episodes. We've had one really great one, and we've had one that was probably the worst of the season. Today's episode is not, I wouldn't call it bad, but it's very mixed. It's mixed in many different ways, and I feel like the biggest problem is that it's predictable. I knew most of what was going to happen before it even got started, just from the title alone. And, I mean, this is made for kids who are a lot younger than I am, and I fully understand that. But I feel like this episode has, it does have its problems. Before we get into that, though, Kat, why don't you give us a brief summary of this episode? And remember, pics or it didn't happen.
Well, kind of hard to show pictures when I'm recording through audio, but whatever, I'll try. So the plot of this episode is that the entire family travels to Brazil at the invitation of one Jose Carioca and Panchito Pistiolis. Apparently the Three Caballeros are in this episode. Yay! And in this version, they're actually Donald's old college band. And they all go on this vacation that Jose paid for. And it's basically a celebration of the flower, which celebrates this big, giant, ominous-looking evil plant that sits in the middle of the town. You know, nothing suspicious there. So they're pretty much, enjoying the sights and everything, and everything the town has to offer. Meanwhile, Panchito and Jose reveal how wealthy and successful they both are, which makes Donald feel inadequate. So he decides to lie and pretend to be a billionaire. And, cue the typical lie reveal formula from here. And, of course, secret evil plant thingy. Because, come on, we all know where this is going.
Doug, I'll give you one guess. If there's a giant plant in the middle of a forest, is it evil?
It's always evil.
Always.
And it always will be! Oh wait, wrong Wrong character.
Especially if there's like long tentacles and spikes, then you know something bad's up.
All right, let's take this bit by bit. There's an A plot and a B plot. We're back to the kind of the season 1 formula. We have an A plot and a B plot. The A plot involves the stuff with Scrooge and Donald trying to lie to his friends, and the B plot is Webby trying to figure out more about the culture and discovering that the flower is in fact an evil carnivorous plant. So I want to start with the fun part first, because I actually really love the stuff with the Three Caballeros, or as they refer to them when they first arrive, Saludos Amigos, which is a reference to one of Disney's previous shorts, which we have covered on the Disney Debate.
As well as the original Three Caballeros. And I gotta say, like, I know I already said it in that podcast, but yeah, Three Caballeros is like one of my favorite Disney films. And it's weird because technically speaking, Three Caballeros is considered sort of a war propaganda film in a way, just because they were trying to make a film to appeal to all, the South Americans during that time, sort of like, a goodwill type thing. But as a kid, I love that movie. I love seeing the animation blended with live action. I love the music. And granted, it gets really freaking trippy and balls to the wall insane toward the end, but I still absolutely adore the film, and I love the characters. And to see them here in the new DuckTales, like, I freaking squeed. I was so damn excited. And I thought they did a great job incorporating those characters into this. And as I mentioned before, they already have made a new Three Caballeros TV show, which, like I said, hasn't aired in the U.S. yet. However, this is different from that, because while the new one is sort of like an AU type setting, an alternate universe, this one, like, the characters actually feel like they came from the movie and have just been updated. So, and even then, like, their dynamic is pretty much still the same. Like, there's, like, a few tweaks here and there to their personalities and stuff, but for the most part, it's them. It's Jose and Panchito, and they're awesome. I love these guys.
I think right off the bat, I have to give kudos, because the voice acting is fantastic. They all have very authentic accents, which I remember you saying, Kat, that they did their best to actually get people who were of that specific descent to voice these characters.
Oh yeah, definitely. And actually, here's a nice little bit of trivia. This is the first time since the original Caballeros where you actually had the voice actors of the same descent. Because the original voice actors for Jose and Panchito, they actually were celebrities from Mexico and Brazil. And the new voice actors are both of descent as well. That hasn't happened since then. Like, all the incarnations since then have either had, like, other voice actors of different nationalities, or it's been a mix of the two. I was surprised, though, that they didn't bring back Jaime Camille, who voiced Don Carnage, because he voices Panchito in the other Three Caballeros thing, but I guess they wanted to give new voice actors more of a chance, which is perfectly fine, because the new guys did a fantastic job, definitely.
They all did a fantastic job, and for me, the highlight was seeing their dynamic work off each other, because, I mean, in this continuity, they were a band, and they all went their separate ways, and obviously you can tell that all of them are lying. Their lives aren't as amazing as they set out to be, and I could tell that from the very beginning, mostly because all three of them are liars in very specific ways. Like, just watching the other new Three Caballeros cartoon, they all tend to lie a lot, and you kind of get a beat on these characters based on how they interact. One seems to be a womanizer, one is a con artist, and then there's Donald, who's greedy. That's their personalities, and you can really tell just based on their interaction that they're showboating for each other. But it's still enjoyable, and to me, that's the thing. It's a cliche liar revealed plot, but it's done in a fun way with characters who are liars anyway, And when they actually reveal the lie, it's over in like 2 seconds. Like, they don't drag it out, and I think that's actually really nice.
Yeah, I didn't think they would. I mean, they showed a little bit of, anger at, them having to lie to each other in the first place, but you can kind of understand. I mean, it's the typical, high school reunion type thing. You want to look good for the people you used to know to show that, prove to them and yourself that you actually did something with your life.
Doesn't that sound familiar, Zen?
Hey, I went to my 10-year high school reunion. I dressed up like a boss. I got made up, and I turned all of them heads, and I was hot, okay?
I didn't even go to my high school reunion. I'm like,
Pics
nah,
or
fuck
it
that
didn't
shit.
happen.
I do have pics. I will edit in a picture right here, just because.
But yeah, it's like, and I love their friendship and stuff. Like you can see that they have chemistry with each other, like right off the bat, and like how eager they are to get the band back together. And even after like it's revealed that none of them are really successful, they still want to get back together anyway.
We're gonna get the band back together, and maybe the Country Bears will sing at Country Bear Hall again.
Oh God.
Mr. Doug, what do you think of the Three Caballeros?
Yeah, I definitely like them. Yeah, Jose and Panchito, they're a lot of fun. And I'm like, yeah, when what you call it? I remember when they were having the lunch, and they all are like, once the bill comes, you could see all of them like inconspicuously, quote unquote, whistling. I'm like, they're all liars.
Yeah, you can all tell from the very beginning, especially because they say, well, we can't all conspicuously whistle at the same time. One of us is going to have to pay the bill. And this brings me to the other highlight of this episode. Scrooge acting like an old man and allowing Donald to use his wallet reluctantly, very reluctantly, to pay for things like a new guitar and their lunch, to which they spend almost $300 at a lunch. But seeing Scrooge act all doddering and old, like completely fake, you can see right through it, and he's fighting Donald every step of the way. He does not want to even let him at his wallet. And then when he does take his money, he starts acting like ornery to spite him, and like tries to get revenge on Donald. Like this is a very fun episode for Scrooge.
I actually think it's an interesting episode for Donald too, because they've made great strides with his character for this show, and for the most part, they've been building him up to be like this responsible, surrogate father figure and everything. And then when he meets up with his old college buddies, we find out that he actually at one point juggled the boys' eggs, like just to show them that he could, and he actually dropped one of them. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck?
And it's implied it might have been Dewey.
That explains so much.
I know, it's like, what happened to the Donald who would put like life support jackets on them every time they set foot on the boat? Or was that like a cause and effect type thing? But
it could be that Della forced him to be a lot more cautious after her disappearance. And, I mean, these are his college buddies, and it's a proven effect, if you've ever watched How I Met Your Mother, that when you see a friend from your past, you start acting a little bit like your past self again. It doesn't matter if you've changed, you see Punchy, and you start punching him.
That actually does happen with Donald in this, because he kind of reverts back to how he used to be, like the real, the original Donald Duck. He's all like aggressive, and he lies and he steals and he makes up this whole big facade and stuff to get rich quick and everything. Like, he kind of reverts back to his old self, and it's not until his family's in danger that he goes back to how he is in the show. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, like, it's very interesting for both of these characters, and this is the point, the A-plot with this portion This portion was where I enjoyed the episode. I think it's a very high point. I think it's something we didn't get to see in Season 1, especially since Season 1 established him as much more of a family man, especially the ending. And to me, this is what I liked about the episode. Before we get into the B-plot, what do you think, Doug?
Yeah, no, I love, how they, Donald kind of reverts back to his college days, and, like, honestly, like, the conversations that they have about, like, not being, those, naive college kids anymore, it's like, wow, that really hits home. I mean, just, about a week ago, I myself was, like, sitting down to dinner with, an old friend from college, and we're just reminiscing about the old days, and I'm just like, oh, I miss those days. Why are we stuck in the real world? I wish we'd go back to college. But yeah, I mean, it's so real.
You had a much better college experience than I did. I never want to go back.
Oh, I totally want to go back to college. I had a wild college experience, mostly because my high school was so bad. Like, I hated high school so much, and it was just like, going to college was a freeing experience. I did all the things that I wasn't allowed to do. It was fun. I mean, I smuggled vodka into my room, that cheap Burnett's shit. It was horrible. And we partied hard in college, and that was where, like, everything was just like, finally free from the tyranny of my parents. It was nice.
Yeah, you all are lucky. Mine just sucked up and down. I was not happy until I finally graduated. Like, post-college days, that was the best years of my life. Because it's like, no more school, yes!
Wait a second, we were supposed to graduate? I knew I was forgetting something.
By the way, I wanted to point out something, that the Caballeros were talking about the last show that they did together, which was that Acapulco. And we're talking about how, like, they did the show and they were booed mercilessly because of Donald's bad singing, and they got chased around, and then Donald got bashed in the head a whole bunch of times, and he doesn't remember it. Like, it's funny they were talking about that, because I remember from the movie at one point, because the whole thing is that they're doing a tour of Mexico, and they ride a flying carpet somehow, because, yeah, the characters had magic powers in that film. Don't ask. But at one point they visit Acapulco Beach, and what do they do there? They harass a bunch of beachgoers. Like, they literally chase down all these women in swimsuits, and Don at one point actually, like, gets on the ground and is, like, aggressively chasing them. Like, that's all that happens in Acapulco. So that's what kept going through my mind every time they talked about it. I'm like, which version are we talking about here, and how are you choosing to remember
it? And I love how Donald is just laughing off. It's like, I don't remember any of that. But he's genuinely laughing because he's having fun with old friends, and that to me is what I loved about this episode. It's very much a good character episode for Donald. For the Three Caballeros and for Scrooge. Like, this portion, if you had just asked me about this portion, I would have said it's a pretty dang good episode.
But let's not forget the best part. They sing the Three Caballeros song. Yes. Like, when they said they were gonna sing, I was hoping they would do that, and they did, and it was fantastic. Like, they even reused like visuals from the original movie too, which was really cool. But the one thing that was different, though, that I was really surprised by, they actually gave Donald a singing role in the song. He did not have that in the original. Like, you heard him, like, sort of screech along during the group bits, but he never actually sang any lyrics, and they actually do it in this, and I feel so bad for his voice actor. Like, that must have killed his voice to do that.
It certainly killed a lot of things around.
Well, just remember, he is the storm, so he can use his voice to his advantage. All right, I've been skirting around this. The B plot sucks.
Yeah.
It is predictable, and a killer plant is not a good villain, but also it makes no sense. Okay, so apparently they somehow got this brochure, which they said, oh, that's the trip was super cheap apparently, to this place, and there's other tourists besides them. So somehow the flower was able to lure people to this destination. I guess it has some modicum of intelligence to write they say the travel brochures were written on leaves. So we it's a funny joke, but I'm still wondering, so the plant wrote brochures. How did the plant get it out, for starters? But okay, so now let's get to the title of the episode, The Town Where Everyone Was Nice. Every single person in the town that they see is a vestige of the plant. Essentially, it can use its limbs in order to mimic people and their voices. And here's my first major point. They were acting weird to begin with, and that was creepy and fine. But how is it mimicking people?
I actually think I know the answer to that, because at one point Webby is reading the story of the flower that's written on the thing that it's contained in, and it mentions how a great evil came to the town and destroyed everything in sight before finally re-emerging anew. I think that the plant ate the people and then pretty much used their corpses, sort of like a lure, the way, anglerfishes lure in fish.
Oh,
Which kind of makes this really dark when you think about it, because all those people that were, talking and stuff are technically dead.
And they can barely talk. All they say is hi and, like simple answers. And it's, part of my disappointment is the fact that, we knew the flower was going to be evil, but the way they made it set up, they made it sound all creepy, kind of like, what is it, the Stepford Wives or something like that, where everyone is just talking, simple phrases, and they're saying the same things over and over, and it's creepy, and there's a good creep factor to it, but the connection to the plant just... To me, it takes me out of it because I don't feel like it's a good villain. And yeah, it's a monster plant. I mean, you don't really need much for that. But I feel like if something was controlling it, or if there was something where the people were being controlled by the plant, they weren't dead, they were just attached to the plant. Maybe. I just find the idea of a killer carnivorous plant to be a little bit lame. And I mean, maybe it's Little Shop of Horrors has ruined it for me, but it is kind of lame.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking at first it was going to be like that Futurama movie, The Beast with a Billion Backs, where the giant creature basically inserted its tentacle into the back of people's heads, and that's what caused them to be compliant. But that wasn't the case here, because the people, like I said, either didn't exist or were already dead. I was also wondering if one point maybe the people were being kept prisoner by the plants, and the only way to keep it from eating them is if they brought people into town as a sacrifice. That was the only thing I could think of, but no. Because it's weird, because like you said, the plant can only make the people say 2 or 3 phrases, and yet it can write brochures. That doesn't make sense to me.
How is it even getting the word out of this forgotten city if it killed everybody? I don't know. Doug, thoughts, please.
Yeah, I mean, my only guess is that they managed to get the quote unquote people into town to be able to mail them out or whatever. Yeah, I mean, We talk about like how the trip was so cheap, and yet something was bothering me. The fact that they were actually charged for their lunch, and I'm like, wouldn't they either really deeply discount or offer it complimentary if all they're gonna do is just kill them and eat them later on? You'd think what
But
would even be the
what
point?
does what does a plant
Need
need
with
with
money.
money?
Well,
Yeah.
to make the brochures.
Yeah, those
Like I said,
leaves
it's a
do
whole
not.
murder slash extortion scheme it has going on.
And if it turned out that there was a person behind this, I could totally buy it. A person controlling the plant, to use the people for something, and that would explain how he got the brochures out, and that would explain the money. Like, this does not connect, and it's a different not connect than the depths of Cousin Feathery. This just, it's like A and B do not equal anything.
Like I know, like from what I heard, this is the whole scenario is supposed to be based on that movie Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You know, where aliens would like kidnap people and then insert their own clones there. But even so, it's like, there has to be some level of intelligence going on in order to lure people, because from the way they make it look, the village is pretty remote, because otherwise the plant probably would have spread even further if it managed to find more prey. So yeah, the fact that it's able to lure in people every single year, build up its own, lore and market a celebration, everything. Like there's some steps missing in between all this. Like, does it have a computer? Does it know how to use the internet? Is like that's how it is advertising itself? Like, there's a level of intelligence that we don't see where that's coming from, and I just don't think it's so inconsistent in regards to the plan. I can't figure it out.
It's like they said 2 plus 2 equals fish. And here's the thing. The cartoonish nature in some of the other stuff is funny. I'm not going to deny that it's not funny, because I did laugh at a lot of those jokes. But I still questioned every step of that B plot. Every single step.
Also, I'm surprised Webby didn't figure out sooner that it was, a carnivorous plant. First of all, by the fact of how it looks, because how many freaking plants do you know with spikes on it that, don't kill something in some capacity? Also, the name of the plant, Drosera occidentum, literally translate in Latin to murder plant. Like,
And she's the one that would know this. And that's part of it. Like, I feel like Webby and Dewey are acting out of character this episode.
well, I don't think so much Webby, because, obviously she comes across this town where she has no idea the lore behind it, which, again, is fair since it's in such a remote location. And, she was trying to, like, find out more about it. But, yeah, like, Dewey and, like, Louie, like, were totally annoying in this episode. Just obsessed with their phones and taking pictures and everything. And granted, I've been guilty of this, going around with my camera, both filming and taking pictures and stuff. But they take it to, like, the umpteenth degree. Like, this is, like, Mark Beek's level of phone obsession. And I guess it was supposed to be, like, a commentary about that sort of thing, but it was just really annoying.
It's like, you're not even gonna eat the food? No, we're gonna take pictures of it and eat it later. What is wrong with you people? And when they get attacked by the plant, and they're still taking selfies after they get eaten by the plant. Like,
I just keep thinking of what Gizmo Duck said in the past episode. Is like, a person falling to his death won't have time to open an app.
Exactly. And that's the thing, like, the character consistency between the Mark Beeks episode and this one, it's really weird. And nothing's happened in between this point that would lead me to believe that they would become so obsessed with their phones. It feels like this was written in as padding and as a joke for the episode. And
it kind of did tie in a bit, because that's how Webby was able to look back and realize that none of the people they came across, like, you saw their feet, and she saw, like, the tentacle coming out from one of the characters. So, granted, she already saw one of the characters go up close with the tentacle, but, I guess that was how it was supposed to tie in, but yeah, it was still stupid and unneeded.
And I feel like Webby should have known sooner. I feel like Dewey and Louie were just insufferable this episode, and while some of the jokes do work, it really felt like they didn't have enough for a full episode. I really feel like they wanted to make Saludos Amigos and the Three Caballeros be a thing. They wanted to work with that. And they wanted to have this big climax where the musical number destroyed a monster plant. That part is fine. That part I got behind. I enjoyed that. But they didn't have enough to tie together. That B plot, most of it is just, it felt like padding, and it really it got on my nerves.
And the worst part is they hint that it may come back. Because at the end, after they fly away from the village, you see that one of the severed tentacles drops a bulb in the dirt, and a new flower grows up, which means that this cycle is going to continue again. So yeah, I don't know what to make of it.
Why didn't they just burn the flower? There's a lot of things that really get to me about the episode. I will say this, though. Donald's singing being so bad that it kills the plant was perfect.
That was amazing.
that was really good. Doug?
Yep, you pretty much knew from the get-go. It's like as soon as Donald starts singing and you see just how bad he is, it's like, oh, he's going to be the one to kill the plant, isn't he? Yep.
It's a shame because, with, I normally would have thought maybe Panchito would have done it, but if he had his old character redesign. Because keep in mind, in the original, he used to carry pistols on him, but in today's society, you can't really show a character doing that. So now instead of guns, he has smartphones. So there goes that idea.
In the way he puts the smartphones in the holsters are a little bit weird, but I find that change interesting, and I think it works. It's better than having invisible guns.
True. And plus the way he holsters it, that's the way he used to holster his guns. So again, that's a callback to the movie.
Mm-hmm. Stop, or I will shoot you with my invisible guns. My hair gives me super strength. And my voice gives me super strength. That's perfect for Donald. Anyway, yeah, like that. We have had a kind of a mishmash of things for season 2 so far, and I'm not gonna count the season out just yet. We had a kind of a rougher middle in season 1, so I'm just I'm gonna let things play. We've had two episodes that I felt were a little bit lacking, but honestly, the Glom Gold episode was fantastic. So I mean, just give me more Glom Gold. I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. And also bring back to the story, please. I'm ready for a story.
Yeah, I hear ya. I mean, I know they probably want to ease their way in before dropping major plot, but I guess it's a process. Because I mean, the season just started, so I'm sure something will come up that will kick it into gear again.
All right. I think I'm gonna start my final thoughts because, to be honest, I have very little to say about this episode. The A plot is fantastic. The B plot sucks. It is a classic case of having half of an idea and making it work, and the other half it does not feel fully formed. It's like you have an idea, and it's in an egg, and you're juggling that egg, and it falls on the ground, and you leave it there.
Now it has brain damage.
and now it has brain damage. I want to love this episode because I do enjoy the Three Caballeros. I enjoy what they represent for this, and that musical number at the ending was really damn nostalgic and good, and they did a great job honoring the legacy of these characters. I just wish there was a better framing device for it. I feel like there was just too much, there was too much dumb plot syndrome where all the characters have to be dumb in order for a plot to succeed, and I'm sorry, but I hold children's shows, even children's shows, to a higher standard now that we have like stuff like, you know, Adventure Time has done some really powerful stuff. Gravity Falls, Steven Universe. There are kids shows that don't talk down to kids. And we've seen in last season and in this season that they can craft good stories. This just feels like a very dumb episode in the wrong areas, and I'm very sad for that because I love the rest of it. With that being said, I do think that we had some great fun with the Three Caballeros, and I also highly urge you guys once again to go out and watch the Three Caballeros television series. It is available. It's airing in the Philippines, but there are avenues to watch it if you're not in the Philippines. It is in English. Go check it out because that's another great appearance of the Three Caballeros. A little bit more cartoonish, but still intelligent enough for my liking. Doug, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest, but I mean, I think basically we already sunk as low as we could with the depths of Cousin Feathery. Heh, 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 heh. Yeah.
I understood that reference.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't think the B plot is that bad. Yes, it is kind of annoying, but you know, you still got like Webby, and you know, her character kind of helps to keep it, you know, still somewhat enjoyable, even if, you know, Louie and Dewey are kind of being assholes. But yeah, definitely the A plot. I mean, I guess they were trying to find some way to, you know, get the Three Caballeros into the episode. So if that meant that they had to have something of a weak premise to get them there, I mean, I guess that's excusable. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think it was that bad. You know, I think even if we are still kind of in filler hell, you know, I'm sure once we get to the second half of the season, it's gonna like blow our minds just like, you know, the last season.
All right, and what do you think, Kat?
I hate to say it, but I'm probably suffering from a huge thing of nostalgia in regards to this episode because I love this episode. Like, I admit there are problems. Like, it does suffer from predictability and, you know, the kids being annoying with their phones and stuff. But I just love seeing the Three Caballeros again, especially in this like new interpretation. You know, just seeing them as, you know, old college buddies who are still best friends, who just want to, you know, make something of themselves and who can still rock hard, like, musically. It's awesome. I absolutely loved it. I was singing along with them and everything. Oh god. I felt like a kid again. It was amazing. So yeah, like I said, there are problems, but I still very much enjoy this episode a lot more than I did the first two episodes of the season. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's weird because it was like a roller coaster. There's certainly parts that I loved about the episode, and I was looking forward to. But as soon as I saw some of the plot stuff coming, and with the inconsistencies and all this other stuff, like, I didn't hate it. I'm not gonna, like, I don't think this is by far the weakest episode. I think this is still a lot of fun. A lot of these flaws really stood out to me. I still think that the depths of Cousin Feathery was the weakest of the series. And this is like, how to put, this is like Terror of the Terraformians. It's not bad, but it's certainly got some very glaring problems that I can talk about.
Fair enough.
Alrighty. Next time we're talking about an episode that brings back a character that I've been waiting to see, and I'm hoping, against hope, that they delve more into the sphere of Selene with this. We have Storkules returning Storkules.
Storkules.
The mighty Storkules in Duckburg.
Oh, this will be interesting, and also just a little for the future episode, the only one I know of so far, we're gonna get a Christmas episode, and it is not gonna go in the direction you think it will. I assure you. I've seen a sneak peek. It is gonna be an interesting one.
Okay, so let's see. Panchito is Scrooge McDuck, and we're gonna do a recreation of Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Well, I definitely didn't see that coming, but
Probably not, but you never know with these inconspicuous whistling lying people. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing what this Christmas episode has to offer, and then hopefully things will slow down for a little bit. Life has been finding ways to make things difficult for recording, because this episode has been delayed 3 times. The first time was because I had a leak in my apartment. Second 2 times were because the maintenance people had to come in and seal the leak and fix it. And then I also had electrolysis and work and tired, and life sucks. Don't be an adult, kids. Stay young for as long as you can.
Stay in college.
start a band and travel.
I feel like that was it in Billy Madison, where she's like, no, stay this young forever, treasure it. But yeah, being an adult with many busy things to do is my Cards Against Humanity card for the week, and I apologize for this episode getting delayed, like some of the other ones, but then again, life is tough, and we will continue on. We will continue forth, and we will see Storkules next time for great justice. But with that being said, I'm Zenith Rule.
I'm Kat Macberrie.
Doug Macberrie.
Stop whispering inconspicuously over there.
And just remember, el juego está en mis pantalones.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Hang on, I gotta get Google Translate up.
The library is over there.
Gracias.
Okay, Okay, here it is. K.
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué?
Hey, this is Megami33. Thank you for watching Zenith Will Review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome videos. If you like what you see, check out the Patreon page at patreon.com/ZenithWillReview.